Ladies and gentlemen, wrong address. I apologize. Let's get seated. It was a dry run. It was a dry run. We always make the dry run to look real. And now we know that we've got the capacity and the ability to stand up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the inaugural National Transport Conference is now officially launched. And now our guests are going to go to the exhibitions, and from there, they are going to come here. And now it won't be a dry run. It will be the real thing. Thank you. In the meantime, the people who are standing and are not supposed to stand, please get seated. There is enough space for everybody. Ko ntlong ya ntate, madulo ke a mangata. Good people, can we clear the pathways? Can we just go to our seats? Muito obrigado. drill. This is real. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barbara Creasy, and I am the Minister of Transport in the Republic of South Africa. And I'm at the wrong microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, can I request that we remain standing for the national anthem? Thank you very much. May you all be seated. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the Premier of Gauteng, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, the Deputy Minister of Transport and Infrastructure in Botswana, His Excellency Atamelang Kyagile, the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Transport and Logistics of Mozambique, His Excellency Sebastião Marcos Mabote, Deputy Minister of Transport of Tanzania, His Excellency David Kihezile, the Principal Secretary of Public Works and Transport of Eswatini, His Excellency Tulani Mkalipi, Deputy Minister of Transport of South Africa, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa, and other deputy ministers present here today, ambassadors and high commissioners present, Chairperson of the Transport Portfolio Committee, Honorable Donald Selamulela, MECs of Transport from provincial governments, chairpersons of transport entities, CEOs of transport entities, industry leaders, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome everyone as we gather under the theme, Transport, the enabler of growth, job creation, and sustainability. Gathered here today is a mighty transport ecosystem that provides work to hundreds of thousands in our country. Our ecosystem has a central role to play in achieving the 3 strategic priorities of our medium-term development plan. As a department, we have developed 6 main priorities to integrate the transport and mobility environment and ensure that every mode of transport has a role to play in the safe, efficient, and effective movement of people, goods, and services. To facilitate our role in achieving these objectives, we must unite together as government, private sector, and civil society. We need a common understanding of the global, regional, and domestic risks and opportunities. We must work together to reform and develop our system in line with major technological and environmental changes. Accordingly, we see this conference as an opportunity to grow a sector-wide approach based on common understanding and unite one another on common platforms that build a future we can all share and support. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite the Premier of Gauteng, the Honorable Panyaza Lesufi, to welcome us all today.
Thank you so much, Minister Barbara Dallas Creasy, Minister of Transport. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the Honorable Minister of Transport, Ms. Barbara Dallas Creasy, Honorable Deputy Minister of Transport, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers present, ministers from our neighboring countries, executive mayors and MMCs that are present, members of the executive councils representing various provinces, representatives from the academic world, both here in our country and international institutions, directors general, CEOs of institutions, and chairperson of those institutions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Gauteng province, we are thrilled to be the host province of the inaugural Transport Conference. And we want to thank the ministry and all those that have taken this important decision to bring this conference in our province. I therefore welcome all of you to the Gauteng province, the economic hub of our country, and this is the home of new ideas. This is the home of innovation. This is the home of creativity. Transport remains the lifeblood of national development, and the Gauteng government has recognized this truth long ago. Back in 2016, the Gauteng provincial government established what we call the Transport Authority for Gauteng, with the aim of creating a formal entity to oversee integrated public transport systems in the province. The Transport Authority involves all our municipalities and government institutions that are assigned this task to reposition the transport needs of our country. This process culminated in the promulgation of the Gauteng Transport Authority Act 2 of 2019. Even back then, it was clear that migration and rapid urbanization continue to strain public services and transport networks. Therefore, the Transport Authority for Gauteng, or TAC, has since been leading efforts to improve transport systems in our province. Its role is to integrate transport. Its role is to centralize planning and ensure that the execution of repositioning our transport needs are indeed coordinated at all levels. So these are long-term objectives which continue to shape our approach to transport as entailed in our Gauteng medium-term development plan. We want to ease the morning traffic. We want to ease the afternoon traffic. We also want to ensure that goods and people can move freely in our province. And that is why we're excited when we approved our integrated transport master plan, which will redefine future transport modes of our province. We are also pleased with the adoption of this transport master plan that begins to shift planning to action, using corridor-based investment and stronger integration of rail, bus, taxi, and non-motorized transport. Our transport system is almost fully functional now, Mr. President. With the new legislation regulating e-hailing market, we are now sure that this particular sector will also contribute to the development of the economy of our province. We want to welcome the new PRASA trains that are now moving across our province, Istimela Sabantu. We also want to thank the taxi industry that continues to do their work in our province. The taxi industry, President, believe it or not, is at peace, obviously for now. The Reavaya bus is shaping up with almost all our metros participating in this particular sector. It's a very important sector that we are proud that we have enabled it to be in all our metros. So we remain immensely excited, Honorable President, that our dream to realize a speed train from here to Limpopo and from here to KZN is no longer a dream, but work in progress. We are thrilled that our commitment to pay and eradicate the e-toll debt and improve our road maintenance has yielded the desired benefits, with the books of Sanral now looking attractive to investors. It was a bitter pill to swallow, Mr. President, but we are proud that we are unlocking the road infrastructure in our province, and we've just invested almost 4 billion to ensure that our roads are maintained, broadened, and most importantly, accessible to our communities. Mr. President, those who came before us saw the need to go to the private market to secure funding to build a Gautrain. By the end of this month, that's the end of March this year, Mr. President, the private sector will hand over to us, the people of Gauteng and the Gauteng government, 42 billion infrastructure of Gautrain that will move from the hands of private sector to the hands of government. Our task is to maintain it, and it is within this context that we are maximizing this investment for the next 15 years And in a few weeks' time, we'll now announce the new winner, who will then expand Gautrain to Springs, Atteridgeville, Four Ways, and other economic nodes of our province. We mean business in bringing rail closer to our people. We are also of the strong view, President, that to defeat crime, we need to solidify the car registration regime in our country. Hence our commitment to introduce a new tamper-proof car registration system to foil car hijackings, kidnappings, killings, as cars are commonly used to commit these horrendous crimes. We're excited with this conference. We look forward to new ideas, and we are looking forward to new proposals that will assist us to take transport to the next level. President, you are not only welcome, this is your home. We are indeed excited to be the host province of this inaugural conference. We are looking forward to the resolutions that will shape, sharpen, and ensure Gauteng remains the home of champions. Thank you so much, President. You are all welcome.
Thank you very much, Premier, for those warm words of welcome. And thank you also for reminding us the importance of integrating our transport system with subnational government, both provincial and local authorities. And I can say to you, Premier, we work very well with your MEC, and together we hope through this Easter Road Safety Campaign we will be making Gauteng roads much, much safer. Allow me to acknowledge the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg, other mayors and councillors present. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for us to receive our marching orders. It is therefore my great honor and privilege to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, to address you.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Minister of Transport, Minister Barbara, today I got to know that you are also called Dallas. Creasy, the Premier of Gauteng, the Executive Mayor of Johannesburg, ministers and deputy ministers who are here present, especially those from our neighboring countries, as in Tanzania, Botswana, Mozambique, and I'm sure others will also be here. I only met the three earlier and greeted them and thanked them for being here. Leaders of business and labor, officials of our government in the various departments or branches of transport, as well as the various entities that are involved in the transportation of our people in various ways, and distinguished guests and delegates. It's a real pleasure to be here, and ask the Minister if we had in the past held a conference of this nature on transport, and she and the Deputy Minister said, no, we hadn't. So this is a historic moment. You are all making history. To have more than 750 people gathering here for a few days to come and discuss transport is quite a milestone and a historic event, and you can applaud yourself with your presence here. Transport, as we all should know, is vital to our economy and to our people. And in fact, transport is the lifeblood of the life of a nation in all its existence. When our transport arteries are blocked or inefficient, the growth of our economy stalls, the costs rise, and opportunities that our people should have also diminish. When they flow freely, these arteries, the country thrives and it succeeds. An effective transport and logistics system is not merely about moving goods and people. It is about unlocking opportunity, giving people a chance and a hope to be economically active. It's about restoring competitiveness as well as reducing inequality and enabling inclusive growth in our economy. The transport sector is integral to our effort to make economic growth work for everyone. It is essential for getting goods from our factories, from our mines, from our farms, to markets here and abroad. By the same measure, it is vital for the development of our rural areas, enabling farmers to get their produce also to the market. In a country where the majority of its people was deliberately removed and settled far from economic opportunities, an effective, affordable, and safe transport system is essential to narrow those distances and those gaps. Now, to take people to opportunity and to take opportunity to people, we need a very efficient transport system. So this conference is taking place amid significant changes that are taking place in our own country and, as you will well know, internationally as well. The geopolitical environment is shifting rapidly, in fact, on an hourly basis. Old trade routes are being redrawn and supply chains are also being reconfigured. Other countries on our continent are investing aggressively in their own rail and port infrastructure, creating both competition and opportunity. And it is for us, as the largest economy, not only in our region, but also on the continent, to be supportive, to be collaborative, and to act in unison with them. Because this creates competition for our rail and port operations, but it also opens up great opportunities for collaboration, for trade, for investment and cooperation throughout our region and across the continent as well. The defining challenge of our time, which is climate change, is also reshaping both infrastructure and operations that have an impact on our transportation and transportation routes. In recent years, we have seen the damage that extreme weather patterns and events is wreaking on transportation, on rail, road, and port infrastructure. We've seen how climate change can disrupt the flow of goods as well as commuter travel, making it more expensive, making it more time-consuming, and making it impossible for people and goods to move around. We need infrastructure that is therefore resilient and sustainable. Our operational capabilities need to be agile and adaptive. They must be able to adapt to new conditions, but they must also be that our government has adopted, logistics reform is at the heart of our economic recovery strategy. We've set out a clear vision of where we want our transportation sector to go. A critical imbalance exists at the moment in our freight network. Approximately 69% of all freight moves on road rather. This places immense pressure and strain on our road network and contributes to the damage of our roads and to poor road safety as well. Inefficiencies in logistics are estimated to cost our economy close on, believe it or not, R1 billion a day. That is a cost we should not and need not bear. We therefore need to do something about it. If you ever needed marching orders, Minister Creasy, the marching order is that we must reduce the enormous cost to the economy through the inefficiencies that we have now in transportation. The cornerstone of our reform program is the National Rail Policy of 2022, which is complemented by the National Freight Logistics Roadmap of 2023. Together, these policies seek to re-establish rail as the backbone of our logistics network. For rail is much more efficient, it is also cheaper, and it is also safer and faster. They seek to bring in new investment from private operators while keeping strategic infrastructure, our rail lines and our ports, yes, and public ownership, so as to serve all the people of South Africa, as assets that belong to all the people of South Africa. The Premier is not only being boastful when he says Gautrain is now going to be returned to the ownership of the government. It is the reality that is unfolding in our own country and also happens in many other countries. Through the establishment of the Transnet Rail Infrastructure Manager, open access to the rail network has become a reality. To date, train slots covering 24 million tons a year have been conditionally awarded to 11 train operating companies through the concessionary opportunities that have been made available. We expect the first private operator to commence operating in April of 2027. In my book, it's a little too far, but everything has its time. We have set an ambitious target of moving 250 million tons of freight by rail by 2029. In the past financial year, 160 million tons of freight were moved by rail, an increase of 5.5% on the previous year. So progress is being made. Transnet's revenue in 2024-2025 rose to 82 billion rand, which is nearly 8% higher than the year before. So we are moving forward. To decrease backlogs and increase port volumes, Transnet has embarked on an extensive upgrading and maintenance program, which I'm sure we will hear about later during the course of this conference. Building on the experience of our response to the energy crisis, the National Logistics Crisis Committee has brought together a range of government departments and agencies, and it has mobilized the expert support to drive the recovery of our logistics capabilities. I'm the one person who's always criticized and accused of setting up these entities, these committees. And let me say now that these entities and committees that I set up are doing really effective work, turning things around. So you may not like them, but they are working. Now, through this work, we have seen breakthrough projects on the coal and iron ore corridors to improve operational performance, improved communication between Transnet and its customers, and a significant reduction in security incidents on the rail network. These are early signs of recovery, and recovery is happening. They tell us that the interventions are working, and those who have eyes and those who have ears can see that things are happening. That is why even the Premier is able to stand here and almost deliver a State of the Province address on the issues of transport. That means things are happening, and they are moving not only in Gauteng, but they are moving nationally. So passenger rail is also essential for inclusive growth. An effective passenger rail system connects communities and provides dignity to the working people of our country. The Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA, has revived 37 of the 40 priority passenger rail corridors and introduced more than 300 locally manufactured train sets. I was talking to the CEO of the company that makes these trains, and as I often ask real technical questions, and I ask, how many trains do you make a month? She told me they deliver about 6, and these are proper trains, not Mickey Mouse trains. So this is real progress that is being made. But she also said they produce 2 coaches a day. Now this is just taking, as Minister Creasy was telling me, raw steel that is produced here in our country, taking raw steel, rolling it up, and ending up with a proper train, with a proper coach, 2 of them per day. So if you want matching orders, I want that to be doubled per day. So you must make 4 a day. And the next year, I'll say make another 4, so that it keeps increasing, so that we can increase our productivity. But thereafter, we must open up the entire continent as a marketplace. We are targeting 116 million passenger journeys this financial year, on our way to 600 million trips by 2029. Now, that is ambition. That is forward movement. Reliable passenger rail lowers commuting costs and improves access to work, education, and healthcare. As we recovered some of the rail corridors, I was able to interact with just ordinary people who are now riding on the train, and they said, Mr. President, this has reduced our costs. We used to pay X amount of money, and it has reduced it almost by 200%. So this is proof that rail works. We have launched a new request for information to attract private sector investment, to attract the investment of the private sector in rapid regional rail, rolling stock, and depot modernization. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, I spoke about a speed train between Johannesburg and Musina, Johannesburg and Durban or eThekwini. People laughed this out of court. They said, it's a dream, it's impossible, it will never happen, you're a man of dreams. Yes, I'm a man of dreams. And this dream is now beginning to be realized. The speed train is coming. It is going to happen. Road transport remains indispensable to the economic life of our country and to the lives of our people. The trucking industry will continue to play a vital role in our logistics supply chains. The taxi industry, which carries almost 80% of South Africans who used public transport, is one of the largest black-owned sectors in the economy. During apartheid, when the apartheid system prevented black people from running their own businesses, taxi owners were the first and they were brave enough to move ahead and set up their own businesses. And so therefore, sometimes when we look at the taxi industry, we look at the dark side of the moon, when there's commotion and violence and all that. We must look on the brighter side, that these taxi operators are entrepreneurs who've taken the risk and who are running mostly successful businesses. So we must applaud them because they transport 80% of the people who move around our country. The economics of the industry has an impact on the sustainability of public transport, driver behavior, and road safety. We're working with the taxi associations, of course, as the Premier said, as well as financial institutions to de-risk the industry and provide accessible finance to taxi owners as well as drivers. Transport must be as inclusive as possible. No one should feel they are left behind for being moved around. The Department of Transport issued the Action Plan for Universally Accessible Transport in November 2024, outlining the steps and the measures that we must take to ensure better transport services for persons with disabilities. Our rapid transit bus services are designed with accessibility in mind. The new PRASA trains have dedicated areas in their carriages for those who are wheelchair-bound. Through the South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL, government manages over 31,000 kilometers of national roads, carrying 70% of all long-distance freight. Major projects from the Moloto Road upgrade to the Msikaba and the Mtento bridges in the Eastern Cape have improved safety and connectivity while creating over 35,000 job opportunities and supporting more than 2,000 small, medium enterprises. And having been to one of these bridges, I think it was the Msikaba Bridge, I saw for myself how small, medium enterprises have been empowered through the construction of this bridge. Our roads, which are arteries of growth and development, are far too often places of destruction, injury, and death. More than 12,000 people die on our roads every year. Now, through strategic interventions and the deployment of the National Traffic Police on prioritized national routes, we have begun to see a decrease in our number of road accident deaths. The deaths on our roads are still too high. Now, during the last festive season, the country recorded the fewest number of crashes in 5 years, which is a great advance. We aim at least to halve road deaths by 2030, a great ambition and a good marching order, Minister Creasy. As a trading nation, over 90% of our trade by volume moves by sea. The current conflict in the Middle East has placed a spotlight on our ports and also on the strategic value that they have in maritime transportation. When major shipping routes are disrupted, South Africa has an opportunity to position itself as an alternative hub. And maybe position itself is a wrong word because it's always been there from time immemorial. And that is why Jan van Riebeeck utilized it to come and plunder and dispossess properties from our people. It was because of this route. Now, our ports must be geared to handle any eventuality at short notice and to respond to any geopolitical environment that is becoming more and more unpredictable. coastal shipping will be critical to advancing the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and also to promote regional integration. So too will air transport. The AU's, that is the African Union's Single African Air Transport Market, envisions a deregulated and liberalized airspace that allows for improved connectivity between the various states on our continent. A flight that should take 4 hours should not take 18 hours. Some people say that to move from here, possibly to the west part of our continent, often involves so much travel through to the northern part of our continent, and sometimes it used to even take people to Europe before they could come to the west part of our continent. Now that must be relegated to the past. Together with our continental partners, we are pursuing the vision of bringing African cities closer together and making travel between them even more cheaper as well as easier. The aviation sector is crucial to our efforts to drive tourism and travel as an enabler of growth and job creation. In closing, this very important inaugural National Transport Conference, this conference must mark a turning point not only in South Africa's transport system, but in our regional transport system. And that's why I'm rather glad that we've got attendance from our neighboring countries here. And one of the things I mentioned to the Deputy Minister from Mozambique was that the N4 development, which linked Mozambique and South Africa, was the first on our continent, the first corridor which is inter-country. And it has proven to be the most effective economic enabler between our two countries. We want to see more and more of that. And the Lobito corridor is going to prove to be another one which will possibly link the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean and enable our people to move in between the various countries that span our continent. A modern, efficient, and inclusive transport system will, without any doubt, lower the cost of doing business. It will attract investment, it will create jobs, and improve household incomes. It was Deng Xiaoping, the leader in China, who said, if you want to get rich, build a road. And if we want to grow our economies, we should build roads. We should improve our transport systems. That is the way to creating great wealth and economic growth. This will strengthen regional integration and make our economy more competitive. But not only our economy, but the economies in the region as well. For as Mozambique grows, as Tanzania grows, as Botswana grows, as Namibia and Lesotho and all other countries grow, utilizing the transport networks that we will create, all of us then grow and develop. Now, to build the partnership that this vision requires, we should consider establishing a permanent transport council. A transport council that will focus on the developments that should continue happening. Some of you will say, there he goes again. He's proposing a council. Yes, because I want collaboration. I want consensus building. I want people to get together like you are all together here. The ministers and the deputy ministers' initiative of bringing all of you to this conference was inspired. And it is like building a broad national council of transport. So all of you could easily be councillors. And I would like to propose, Minister, that this conference must take place every year or every other year, so that you bring all these clever people together. As I was going through the exhibition sports, I just could hear people who are clever, who are innovative, who want to move transport sector forward. So all of you are the top, best brains that we've got. So I want you all in the Transport Council. Modeled on our experience with the Energy Council, this would bring together government, the private sector, and all passenger and logistics service providers across the country, across the land, sea, and air, together. Just as collaboration transformed our energy response, cross-sector collaboration of this kind will enable further stabilization and inclusive growth in transport. So let us use this moment and seize this moment and discuss this concept at this conference to see how we can make it come alive and place transport at the center of our country's and our region's growth plan. With these words, I thank you and I wish that you have great deliberations and clever ideas are put on the table. And as for me, I look forward to the resolutions and the decisions that will be taken here. In the end, that's what has brought me here, to say I expect good results from your conference. So good luck and have great discussions during the course of the 2 days that you will be here. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give His Excellency another round of applause? Mr. President, thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you for setting the scene